In other JCPS news, it's a big talker among parents. The district superintendent wants to change start times for schools.
So when I say someone has to start early, yes, that can be elementary. Right. And actually the research supports elementary starting earlier instead of middle and high.
Right now, middle and high schoolers start at 7:40, elementary at 9:05. WDRB education reporter Kevin Wheatley is here now to hash this out with us. So Kevin, what possible changes have been discussed so far?
Well, this is a culmination of talks that Superintendent Pollio has had for some time now. This is something that he's looked at. He wants to start later for middle and high school students. I think the thinking behind that is that these older students would benefit more from sleeping in a little bit more, starting school later. And he talked about this, it would impact student achievement, and potentially attendance too. If school starts later, the thinking is it would be easier to get to if you had a little bit more time in the morning. Now, this does pose a lot of questions, and school board members did ask about a number of things last night. You know, you have to think about childcare. A lot of these students deal with younger siblings, relatives after school. They're their primary source of childcare. What sort of impact is that going to have if they do go forward with these bell times? Another thing that they talked about was potentially consolidating bus routes. It could take hundreds fewer bus drivers if they consolidated these routes on these bell times. And when we talked to John Stovall, who is the head of the bus union at JCPS this week, here's what he had to say about this.
If you stagger the bell times, and they've talked about this in the past, so you have elementary going at this time and high school going at this time, and you have that gap in. I'm not going to say you'll be able to fill everything, but you can make a difference on getting the kids picked up and delivered in a quicker, more efficient manner.
And a lot of factors at play still. But Kevin, some parents might be freaking out hearing this news, but right now it is just a discussion. What needs to happen before the plan moves forward?
There is still time. They're not talking about making these changes immediate or even in the next school year. This is something that they were talking about maybe doing for the 23-24 school year. So there's still a lot of time to adjust to any sort of changes to start times, bell times at schools. One of the things that Superintendent Pollio said that he wanted to do was get more feedback from families, stakeholders, staff, that sort of thing. Kind of like what they did with the security proposal, and then also have, like the security proposal, a town hall to kind of field questions and answer questions about, you know, the different changes that they're going to have in effect. But they had to have a proposal. They had to have, you know, here's what they want to do. Here are the times. Here's who's going to be affected before they go forward with that.
We will see what happens. Kevin, thank you. You can read more about the proposal in Kevin's story on WDRB.com right now.